Welcome back to another tutorial lesson. This is part 2 of chapter 3, that is citizenship. In the first part, we have discussed what is a citizenship, the characteristic features of a citizenship, the types of citizenship, and the naturalized citizenship. And in this second part, we'll discuss the acquisition of citizenship in India, the no distinction between the two class of citizens and the loss of citizenship in India, the global concept of citizenship, and the stateless person or the refugees facing problems, and how does the international law promote or protect such people, and the arguments in favor of global citizenship. So first of all, we'll look the first point of this chapter 2, this part 2, that is acquisition of citizenship in India. Like the Citizenship or Act of 1955 contained the detailed provision with regard to the acquisition and termination of citizenship in India. Moreover, the Constitution also provides citizenship right for overseas citizens of India, also non-resident Indians and persons of Indian origin. The Act prescribed these ways for acquisition of for citizenship, like by birth. See, by birth, it is talking about citizens who were born at the time of enforcement of the Constitution of India or after 26 January 1950 are counted as citizens of India by birth, irrespective of nationality of his parents. And by descent, that is heredity, it is talking about immigrants from Pakistan whose parents or grandparents or either of them, yes, were born in undivided India. Example, not example, but that is like pre-independence, are considered to be the citizens of India by descent and by registration. Under this registration, the subject to, under certain condition and restriction, certain category of person who is not already such citizens can acquire citizenship of India by registration, by registering in a prescribed manner laid down by the government in that particular country. And by naturalization, and so this naturalization, it is talking about the foreigners can acquire citizenship of India on application for naturalization. In the opinion of central government, the applicants, like the applicants of or the foreigners, if a person is a person who has rendered distinguished service field in the service of science, philosophy, art, literature, and world peace and human progress in general. So foreigners can acquire the citizenship when they are fulfilled with this certain condition. And the citizenship by inclusion of territory, it is talking about citizenship of incorporation or territory. If any territory becomes a part of India, or the central government may order, by order notified in the official gazette, or like specify person living in that territory as a citizens of India as from the date to be specified in the order. So by inclusion of territory, it is talking about like if any territory becomes a part of India, that particular territory along with the citizens will become the citizens of India from the date specified in the order. Now let's discuss about the citizenship by naturalization in India. How does the foreigners acquire citizenship by naturalization? So here they have to satisfy and fulfill certain condition, that is, a person must not be a citizen of a state which differs Indian from becoming a citizen of that particular country by naturalization. First point is that. And the second point is he must renounce the citizenship of that country to which he belonged. And the third point is he must have either resided in India or should have been in the government service in India for 1 year immediately before the date of his application and for naturalization. And the fourth point is during the 7 years of the years preceding above 1 year, he should have resided in India and or he should have been in the governmental services in India for not less than 4 years. And the fifth point is he should have a healthy mind, he should have a good character. And the sixth point is he should have an adequate knowledge of a language specified in the 8th schedule of the Constitution. In the 8th schedule of the Constitution, there are 19 languages which are enshrined in the Constitution. So that person should have an adequate knowledge in that prescribed prescription of this 8th schedule in the Constitution. Or like if the Citizenship Act of 1955, it provides that in this case, in the 8th schedule case, a person may be waived from this case if he has rendered distinguished service to the government in the field of science, philosophy, world peace, literature, or human progress generally. So this is about the acquisition of citizenship by naturalization in India, and no distinction between the two classes of citizens or the two classes of citizens. Like say in India, when foreigners who have acquired the citizenship by naturalization, they are not debarred from any governmental services. But like in US, no naturalized citizens can hold the office of the president. But in India, as I've told you, that naturalized citizens are eligible and are given the right to hold offices under the Constitution. That is, it may be offices of the president, prime minister, governor, or others, etc. And now let's move on to the loss of citizenship in India. How can a person lose its identity or lose its citizenship status in India? The first point is continuous residence outside the country. When a person, is continually residing outside the country for a period of 7 years, yes, for a period of 7 years without the intention of coming back to India, that particular person will automatically lose the Citizenship Right Act of India. And the second is disloyalty and offenses against the state. The citizenship, the citizens can lose the citizenship status of India when they when they are faced with the account of treason or disloyalty or dissatisfaction towards the country, or desertion from the army, or commission of a heinous crime. That particular person will be debarred from the citizenship status of India. And the acquisition of another citizenship, like if a person naturally and voluntarily acquires citizenship of other countries, he will be debarred from the citizens of India, and he is ceased to be a citizen of that country that he belonged to earlier. And the fourth point of how a citizen lost their citizenship status is through marriage. Like when a woman marries an alien or foreigners, she by that very fact becomes the citizens of her husband country. So in this way, the citizens or a person lost their citizenship status in India. Now let's discuss the global citizenship. This global citizenship, we are going to discuss about not a particular country, not a particular state, not a particular nation, but we are going to describe as a whole. So like all the states have a well-defined boundaries. The people living within their territory claim that they are legally belong to that state. But there are some reasons which force the people to leave their countries, like the stateless person or the refugees and the illegally people. See, when we see them in the in our view, we see them as an illegal. We see them as we see them as a stateless people. We see them as a refugees. But when we look into their condition, we can know the status. We can know their condition. What is the reason behind the driving forces of being them stateless refugees or illegal person. So the first point is people were persecuted or oppressed for reason of race, caste, religion, or political belief. Like there are some, there are some people who are forced to leave their home or forced to leave their house, or they're forced to leave their motherland because of their race, because of their caste, because of their religion, because of their political belief. And for a cruel treatment or for a fair, they don't want to return to that particular, to their homeland or to their home. So these are the driving forces that led them to leave their own homeland and become a refugees or stateless person. The second point is natural calamities. Like natural calamities, we cannot stop them. It is a natural happening, and even because of these natural calamities, people are forced to leave their home. And the people within that community or within that state are they don't want these people in the country where they are staying. They are no more wanted in the country where they belong. So when they are no more wanted in the country that they belong, their sense of resentment and their sense of going back to their homeland becomes very difficult for them. So because of this also, it led them to become refugees, stateless, or illegal immigrants or migrants. And many people were also forced to leave their country. Nowadays, the war doesn't happen occasionally or like continually, but in the way back to this like in the First World War, Second World War, in that era of time, there were lots of war, or like even in the places like Iraq, Syria, and Iran, it is a disrupted areas or countries, and because of that war, because of that cruel treatment, because of that instability of the people, they don't want to stay in that particular country where their rights, where their living status are being threatened. So because of this also, they were forced to leave their own homeland, their own house and their own home, and forced to become a stateless or refugees person. And the fourth point, which led to this people to become a stateless or refugees or illegally entered person, are because of some crook travelers, they smuggle Asian and Africans into Europe. So in place of giving like jobs and in place of giving this employment to the people, they took they are the crook travel agents that smuggle these people, and these people, instead of getting these jobs and the services as promised to them, they become as stateless or refugees or illegal immigrants without having any asylum in that country. So this is the global citizenship, how the person are faced, how the persons are driven out from their home, or how the person are illegally and forcibly become these stateless or refugees or illegal people. Now we'll discuss what is this granting citizenship right. The refugees and people who have met, who have been stateless apply for that country's citizenship where they live in. So the condition laid down for conferment of citizenship vary from country to country. And though we have that sympathy, when it comes to granting of citizenship to these people, it becomes very difficult for the government or the authorities in most of the countries, and they show a negative attitude towards these people. And like the rich and prosperous countries or the nation, they don't want more and more migrants flooding into their territories, because when these migrants flood in their territories, their resources will be the population will exceed the resources, and when it exceeds the resources, the country will face an acute shortage of basic necessities, and that is why the rich countries were not willing to take over this group of people. And like in 1959, Dalai Lama, along with thousands of Tibetans, sought refuge in India, and many of them took an initiative, and India also took an initiative to grant citizenship to these migrants, but many of the people were left and remained stateless for years and years. Now, let's discuss the stateless people facing difficulties and problems, and how does international law protect such people. See, when the stateless person are not provided with acquired things that are given to the citizens, they face lots of difficulties. Like people who have, they have to face many problems. They cannot purchase property. They cannot even find a job. The security of refugees rests only on being granted asylum. That is, asylum means like a protection granted by a government for a certain period. So the stateless person, they cannot buy even property for their residence. They cannot have, they cannot get job in that particular country where they are illegally residing. So it becomes very difficult for them to accommodate in that particular country. And that is why the international law says that no person should be forced to return to a country where his or her freedom or life are threatened for some reason of religion, race, war, or political belief. So the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, that is UNHCR, supervises the arrangement for the protection of refugees, and this commission is highly responsible for seeking durable solution to the refugees' difficulties. Now let's move on to the arguments in favor of global citizenship. Why political scientists and why people came up with the concept of global citizenship? See, and no person should be forced to return to a country where his life or where his belief are threatened because of race, because of caste, because of religion, because of political belief. And at the same time, people also cannot allow to stay stateless or for an indefinite period of time. So because of this, people came up with the concept of global citizenship. In order to strengthen the concept of global citizenship, even a good argument came up in support of the concept of global citizenship. So the first point in favor and in arguments of the global citizenship is we live in an interconnected world. See, nowadays in this 21st century, we are living in a technology world. We are living in an advanced world, and even before that, the technology was in advance. And see, automatically, suppose I will give an example. Like suppose when you're watching news, when you're watching discoveries or like TVs and watching any kind of channels, and when you hear about the news about the famines or about the wars or about the landslide, about the natural calamities happening in other particular of that country, we automatically become sympathetic. Like we have that empathy, we have that sympathy towards that group. So when we have that emotional, automatically that emotional becomes a concern and a concern for a global citizenship. And that is why when we have that emotion, and when the emotion or when that image is pictured inside within ourselves, this automatically led political scientists to develop the concept of global citizenship. And the second point is, unless states work together, they cannot overcome many problems. See, in a country, like internal disturbance or like other things, we can the state government or that particular government can do away. But this like terrorism, like disease like bird flu, AIDS, all of this, they don't know, like the state boundaries. They say they will not say that, okay, this is Indian, so will not go to that territory. This is US, so will not go to that territory. They don't know the boundary level. They are spread like a wildfire, and even poverty. So like until and unless the states come together as a one, like as a war, as a one agents, that things and that problems cannot be solved without the help of one another. See, India cannot purely eradicate in terrorism, which is contributing, which is threatening the world peace and world peace and security. But if like the states come together, they can overcome these kinds of difficulties, and that is why these things led the political scientists to develop the concept of global citizenship. And even not only about the disease and not only about terrorism, but even to the extent of refugees or like illegal immigrants or like immigrants, it is also the works of a state coming together to eradicate and to provide certain kind of responsible, durable solution to the refugees' difficulties and all of this. So, and that is why this is all about the arguments in favor of global citizenship. And now let's look into the need for an international agreement on migration. Like, sentiment associated with the nation states are so powerful that the ideals of global citizenship may not be realized at this moment. Like, though we have come, though the political scientists have come up with the durable solution, in argument in favor of a global citizenship, yet that ideal may not be realized at that moment. But there is a need for international agreement on migration, and such agreement should bind nations to grant some basic social and legal rights to all the immigrants and refugees, so that it will lead to poverty reduction and development on an enormous scale. See, as nation cannot develop when there is a poverty, when there is lots of inequalities in the countries or lots of problem facing in that particular country. So so it come up with an argument that there is a need for international agreement on migration, so that a particular people or a group of people who are facing this stateless, who are facing this refugee status, will be given some kind of basic social, economic and legal rights, so that a nation can prosper in an enormous scale. So this is all about the citizenship, and in the next class we'll discuss chapter 4, that is liberty. So until we discuss, I urge all of you to go through this chapter 4, so that when I go through this explanation, it will be very easy for you to understand what this chapter are trying to convey to you. Thank you.